Hello everyone. According to a recent study, 94% of children are missing school. School is the sanctum sanctorum for all of us. Kids, do you recall when you go to school after your vacations, the checklist you prepare? Let's see. New uniform? Yes. New shoes? Yes. New bag? Of course, yes. New stationery? Yes. Hold on, children. The checklist doesn't end here. There are few more essentials for today's school. Have you included a mask, a hand sanitizer, and the most important one, are you vaccinated? These days, we've been hearing this word vaccine more often than earlier. Well, what is vaccine? Is it some medicine to use when you're sick? Can we pop it in ourselves? Or do we need some professional to give it to us? Let us find out what vaccines are and why are they quest for hope. Well, a vaccine is a type of medicine that trains the body's immune system so that it can fight a disease. In simple words, vaccines are designed to prevent diseases rather than cure a disease once you get it. Do you know what happens when you're vaccinated? A vaccine, when taken against a disease, can stimulate the production of antibodies by a body to fight the disease that may occur. Therefore, the diseases that are prevalent in a region can easily be prevented by vaccination. If you wish to look further, you have to ponder into the past too. Vaccination seems to be a procedure invented recently to prevent diseases. We often wonder how our ancestors thrived along during their times, as pathogens were always there since time immemorial. Let me throw some light on the history of vaccines. The timeline of our history shows that based on the status of the disease as epidemic or a pandemic, vaccines for various diseases were made. The concept of vaccination has begun as early as 200 BC but gained its momentum only in the 18th century. Over the years, based on the severity of the disease affecting the populations, different vaccines were successfully developed. Epidemics shook the world time and again. Vaccines have been saviors many a times. Polio, flu, hepatitis B, measles, rubella, whooping cough, pneumococcal diseases, mumps, chickenpox, diphtheria are some diseases which rattled the world. Thanks to vaccines, we almost forgot about them. Vaccines we use today have come a long way. We use different kinds of vaccines. Each type is designed to teach your immune system how to fight off the typical germs causing serious diseases in us. They're made from various sources like the attenuated viruses, DNA vaccines, virus-like particles, subunit viral proteins, inactivated viruses, and the viral vectors. Inactivated vaccines. These are composed of dead or inactivated viruses and bacteria. Inactivated vaccines are the form of vaccine where the virus is inactivated during the process of making them. Inactivated vaccines cannot replicate and always require repeated doses for immunity to be achieved. The first dose is the one that prepares the immune system to respond, but a protective immune response does not develop until the booster dose is given. Attenuated vaccines. A weakened virus can be made by forcing them to grow in different cells in lab. Few of the virus particles can infect the cells and adapt to multiply in the new environment. The genes in the virus get modified to suit the new cells, thereby when these modified viruses when reintroduced into the human cells as vaccines, the weakened viruses have a hard time and multiply less efficiently, giving the body enough time to produce an immune response. Rather than injecting a whole pathogen to trigger an immune response, subunit vaccines are used, which contain only fragments of the germ. These fragments are incapable of causing a disease, but can effectively trigger immunity. The viral vectors act as a delivery system, providing a means to invade the cell and insert the code for a different virus antigen, that is, the pathogen we are trying to vaccinate against. The virus itself is harmless. Therefore, by getting the cells only to produce the antigen, the body can induce an immune response safely without developing the disease. The viruses that can be considered as vectors are adenoviruses, which cause common cold, measles viruses, and so many others. Therefore, viral vectors have been successfully used for vaccine production. They're well tolerated in humans, and the prospect of using viral vector vaccine is promising too. Nucleic acid vaccination. It's a technique for protecting against disease by injecting genetically engineered DNA or RNA. Nucleic acid vaccines consist only of DNA or RNA, which are taken by the cells and transformed into protein. This can then be recognized by the body's immune system to release antibodies. Trials are going on with several DNA vaccines for malaria, AIDS, and other potent diseases. mRNA vaccines. RNA vaccines work by introducing an mRNA sequence. This sequence is a molecule which tells the cells to produce a disease-specific antigen. Once the antigen is recognized by our immune system, antibodies are produced to fight the real disease. VLPs, or the virus-like particles. These are the molecules that closely resemble a virus but cannot cause an infection. They can be naturally occurring or can also be synthesized in a lab. Diseases like malaria and hepatitis B can be effectively prevented using these kinds of vaccines. Therefore, for any kind of vaccine we use, our body generates antibodies against a specific disease and combats the pathogens by either blocking, by phagocytosis, or by direct killing. Finally, the much awaited time has come. 2021 began with a flurry of events around the vaccine for COVID-19. The vaccines Covaxin and Covishield have undergone intense scrutiny before being approved. As you have already seen the different kinds of vaccines, the vaccine type used in Covaxin is an inactivated vaccine, whereas Covishield is a non-replicating viral vector. The vaccines have been mapped to reach their destinations well stored at 2 to 8 degrees Celsius in the cold storages and are administered in 2 doses. Covaxin in a space of 14 days and Covishield in a gap of 2.5 to 3 months. It is time to control the spread of the disease. For a pandemic like COVID, it is necessary that a high percentage of the population is vaccinated to develop herd immunity. Vaccines should be a support to life and not to sustain life. Our elders and ancestors have stated prevention is always better than cure. Let us adopt the age-old practices of cleanliness and be mindful towards the environment. As we herald a new beginning of the end of the COVID pandemic in the country, it is important to acknowledge the obstacles and challenges the research fraternity have faced in developing these vaccines. And we wish the quest for our faith and hope reaches its destination and gives us a quarantine-free life. On behalf of the science faculty, we wish everyone to stay healthy and stay happy. Thank you.